Thank you for tuning in to Macroview Television, and welcome to another brand new edition of the Taiwan Outlook, the program that lets you see the different faces and also hear the different voices of Taiwan. I'm your host, Wu Ruiguo. As we know, animal conservation is a worldwide top priority for many countries, Taiwan included. And today on the program, we're delighted to have a specialist who specializes in Taiwan's animal conservation programs at the Taipei City Zoo, and he is Dr. Eric Tsao, Hsien-Shao 博士, to talk about the state of animal conservation in Taiwan and the special exhibition in celebration of the Year of the Golden Rabbit. Welcome to the program, Dr. Tsao.
It's my pleasure to be here with everybody.
Well, Happy New Year.
Well, it's not too late for Happy New Year.
Yes, always, yes. As we know, the year 2011 is the year of the Golden Rabbit. And we understand at the Taipei City Zoo, there is a special exhibition, in celebration of the year of the Golden Rabbit. Can you tell us a little bit about the exhibition?
It seems like a tradition that for each year we will have a special exhibition open to the general public. Mm-hmm. But this year, the new rabbit exhibition was even better. It was right inside the children's zoo.
Okay.
So as you may heard, a very famous quote by Baba Quinn.
Okay.
In the end, we will conserve only we love. Okay. We will love only we understand.
Okay.
And we will understand only what we were taught.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually follow this concept, and we try to make some differences here. Mm-hmm. In the past, most of the exhibition area, the visitor can only observe the animal from far distance.
Okay.
But this special exhibition, we try to invite and provide some potential that the kids or the parents can have opportunity in the future that they will have a better close look at the rabbit, but also maybe join our educational program to play just like a junior keepers and to learn something from there.
Good.
So we try to make the whole area a special environment to inspire the kids and try to initiate their free choice learning.
Okay, good. And what are some of the highlights at the exhibition? Of course, as you said, in the previous years, maybe when the Taipei City Zoo had the exhibition, depending on the animal, you may not want the visitors to be too close to the animal. For example, in the year of the tiger, you would not want to put the visitor next to the animal itself. But this is the year of the golden rabbit. Now, golden rabbit, of course, is something very adorable, and kids love it. Some of the adults also love them. So the fact is that you mentioned that you want the visitors to be as close as possible to the animals. And besides that, what are some of the other highlights?
I guess when we talk about rabbit, most of the visitor will think, well, there are a lot of diversity of different species, but eventually, most of the rabbit that we are familiar with is mainly belonging to the house rabbit.
Of course.
So, but it also provides a great opportunity for us to introduce different breeds to the visitors that they can compare with. So it's symbolized the human-rabbit relationship ever since the 19th century. There are about many different breeds were bred by the human for different purposes at different timing.
Okay.
But so we try to create this special exhibition area, have several different breed, a very famous breed. For example, like the Dutch, or the Lope, or even the lion head. So the kids will have opportunity to try to learn how to identify different breed and think about the genetic diversity that single species can carry. So that is one thing. The second thing is the enclosure design. We add some new thinking into it. We provide a small corridor that when the rabbit was probably annoyed by the visitors too much, they will have opportunity to get back to their den.
Oh, really?
By their own choices.
Good.
But the visitor also, usually the gate open only behind the scene. But for this special exhibition, the gate is right in front of the visitor. So for the special educational program, we will send out our zookeeper, try to educate the visitors how to handle the rabbit. So for that case, most of the visitors are supposed to have a better opportunity to explore themselves, to learn something more. Yeah.
About the animals, yes. And what is, despite all the different, breeds that you talk about for the animal rabbit, what is the overall general relationship between the human beings and the rabbit?
Well, the rabbit is probably in most of the continent, the human has long relationship, observation of the wild rabbit. So the wild rabbit, in the broad sense, worldwide, we can identify about more than 90 species.
Okay.
So, but other than only Australia continent do not have any rabbit.
But any of the rabbits is, considered dangerous? I mean, they will attack people?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
They will usually not attack people.
Yeah.
But when people change, human activity change the habitat, that will jeopardize the rabbit.
Oh, really?
So, however, the reproductive strategy for most of the rabbit, they can produce many offsprings. So usually it's not the case that they will soon turn into endangered. But again, there are several cases, for example, like in Vietnam, when the habitat was totally destroyed, the population crashed down too quickly, then they will have some special care to monitor the population.
Okay. And we understand this is a very special exhibition in celebration of the Year of the Golden Rabbit. But what are some of the, leisurely, educational, and cultural purposes behind holding such a unique exhibition?
We do try to link the cultural or education to the rabbit exhibition. For example, we have other educational material try to introduce even the Alice in Wonderland. And because probably you already know is the Alice in Wonderland, the rabbit there was actually a mimicry from European hare. It's the special rabbit is during the breeding season. Usually the female will chasing away the male that because if she is not ready yet, she will chasing all the male away. So it seems like you will see them running around all the time. That is very famous rabbit species that we can see. The other famous story is about the Peter rabbit.
Yes.
So Peter rabbit, we try to link because the author eventually considered as a conservationist. So we try to bring that message in, try to help the kids at least have this chance to learn something more about how to become a conservationist.
Okay, good. How many different kinds of rabbits do we normally see in Taiwan?
I will say probably barely over 2, because most of the rabbits belong to single species. It's different breed, as I mentioned. So according to the American Rabbit Association, it's about 47 breeds you can identify in the state.
Of course.
But in Taiwan, we usually the pet that the ordinary people will have at home is come from different breed. The only wild native rabbit that we have is actually not really a rabbit. It's a hare. So it's a Formosa hare.
Is that the most popular and most common in Taiwan?
Well, I will say in rural area, most of the younger generation probably will have this opportunity to eyewitness in the field. But through the urbanization, most of the kids don't even have chance to think about this, how it looks like.
How did Formosan hare came to Taiwan in the first place?
Well,
where did they come from?
Well, I think it's a subspecies to Chinese hare.
Oh, okay.
So it's symbolized the wildlife distribution is reallocate through different events like the continental drift. So before that, they do have opportunity to live in Taiwan and evolve.
Okay.
But after the island was isolated from the continent, if the time is long enough, it will usually develop into a subspecies. Okay. So that is pretty much the case of the Formosa hare.
Okay. Yeah. As we know, during Chinese New Year, since this is the year of the golden rabbit, you can see a lot of the vendors on the street corners selling rabbits. And some of these rabbits are very adorable, and also they also come in different sizes and shapes. And somehow, kids love them, and they will urge the parents to buy them, for them. In terms of raising a rabbit, what would be some of the tips as an expert that you can give to children and their parents, to families, in terms of raising a rabbit at home?
I would say this way. Okay. I think the first tips that the parent especially should keep in mind will be the responsibilities.
Of course.
So because the house rabbit usually, through this history, they do need intensive care. So you need to provide a special food for them. Okay. And you need to do the cleaning.
Of course.
So I think before you really buy a rabbit, you have to think seriously about the willingness to pay.
Okay. Yeah. And also, how about the animal waste? Will that cause an environmental problem?
Well, usually right after the rabbit year, we probably could expect that some abandoned the pet.
All right.
Okay. But we really would like to, maybe through this program,
we would love to see that happen.
Well, the audience can learn something more.
Okay, good. We're going to take a short break on today's program here on the Taiwan Outlook. And when we come back, we will continue this very interesting and informative conversation with Dr. Eric Tsao, who is an Associate Research Fellow and also the CEO of the Animal Adoption Program at the Taipei City Zoo, and continue this interesting conversation. I'll see you in just a few minutes. Welcome back to the second part of today's program here on the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Ray Guo. We will continue this interesting conversation with Dr. Eric Tsao, who is an Associate Research Fellow and also the CEO of the Animal Adoption Program at the Taipei City Zoo. Dr. Tsao, you're a specialist on animal conservation. We understand this is a priority concern for many, many countries and also international organizations around the world. And Taiwan is also part of that. And can you give us an overall comprehensive overview of the state of animal conservation in Taiwan?
Well, it's a very, very tough question.
It's a very big question
for me to answer. Yeah.
Yes.
I put this way. In the year of 1989, we have Wildlife Conservation Act enforced at that time. So it's pretty much more than 20 years ago. Through this 20 years, I think public awareness has improved quite a lot. So we can see many people will vote for their own choices to protect either the habitat or the wildlife. The wildlife itself, usually the wild population will suffer by habitat loss or habitat degradation. That is a major issue worldwide. We have probably more than 20%, about 20% of the terrestrial land now become the protected area for the, not just the wildlife, but also for the flora that they live with. Okay. So I think the trend is getting better. But maybe never good enough.
No.
We still heard a few cases that the wildlife were poaching by the some people in the field. And we still heard about the conflict between the human being and the wildlife, because we all live in the same area.
Of course.
So I think the resolution for this is probably have, again, still communication and education, because we have one of the highest human population on this island.
Right.
So that is the fact that everybody have to face.
Okay.
We have to make our decision all the time. So
of course.
that is in the hope that we can always make a smart decision.
Okay.
So I think personally I am relatively optimistic. And Taipei Zoo play a very special role, that we have this great opportunity to have different type of wildlife in captivity. So we can learn a lot of things through the daily husbandry and the research from them.
Okay. So in terms of the animal conservation, that you're not happy with it, but we are making the right progress. But also you mentioned two things, in your earlier comments that were, very important. One is awareness, the other one is education. At the Taipei City Zoo, are we doing something especially for school-age children, for them to be educated, to raise their awareness at a younger age about animal conservation?
The previous director of New York Wildlife Conservation Society, Dr. Bill Conway, once said,
yes,
the zoological institution ought to change from a living museum to a more active conservation institution.
Okay.
So it is the same pressure that the Taipei Zoo are facing. So in the past, we actually behave exactly like living museum. We collect different type of animal, and most of those are exotic and endangered species.
Okay.
But right now, we initiate the rescue program. We collaborate with other government agencies like the Forest Bureau or Council for Agriculture. And we start to see not just save this wildlife from the illegal smuggling activity, but also even the general public now would like to rescue the wildlife whenever they saw in the wild that need in desperate help. And they will transfer this wildlife to the Taipei City Zoo. And we will have this opportunity and a great honor to take good care of them.
Okay.
And from there, we can develop special expertise for the animal handling.
Okay.
And also from there, some of those individuals may not really good for easily release back to the natural world, because they might already losing the legs or injure something.
Abilities, yes.
But for this individual, they are good for telling a nice story to the general public. Good. So now we are trying to make it available also to the visitor, so the visitor can learn. Right. But also, I think usually the zoological institution, they start from the conservation breeding program, provide the wildlife an opportunity to be sustainable in the area in captivity.
Okay, let's use the Chinese pangolin as an example. We understand that there was the first Chinese pangolin that was bred born and bred in a zoo anywhere in the world. I was back in December of last year, 2010, and apparently the name was Chuangui. And you and I were talking about the story behind, the birth of this Chinese pangolin. Can you give us, the details, the process to all the TV viewers watching our program today?
Yeah, actually, Chuangui is considered the fourth pangolin bred in the Taipei Zoo.
Okay.
And Taipei Zoo is so honored that we are the only zoological institution worldwide that we can not only bred have this kind of success of conservation breeding program, but also the newborn can be raised till their mature stage.
Okay. Good.
So Chuangui's father eventually considered as the first pangolin that grow all the way to the mature stage.
Okay.
And so when Chuangui was born, it looks like maybe you can say banana shape or sweet potato shape small creature. and it is hairless and it's blind. And although our colleague monitor the whole sequence of progesterone, I mean the hormone, sexual hormone for the mother, we expect that, well, probably she is going to deliver the baby now. Okay. And we try to, before the cold wave hit Taipei
yes.
in last December, we try to allocate the mother to the den that to have a better environmental control there to give birth.
All right.
But when the keeper steps into the original enclosure, the mother, Chuan-chong, already dig a shallow hole, and the Chuan-gui was there.
Oh, okay. So it's already been born.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we can also share some interesting video later on. Is that the Chuan-gui now is, I think at the other stage is very critical for the Chinese pangolin to grow up. Okay. Is when the timing they need to change diet from milk to the ordinary solid food. Okay. And so I think Chuan-gui already now learned something from his mother. Okay. Is try to eat the ant now from the nest. Okay. So that's a lot of.
But that's only been some like 3 months since he was born. But they are now ready to make the transition. Yes. Can you give us some other interesting story about this Chinese pangolin? This is the fourth that was that's being bred in the Taipei City Zoo. Were there any other interesting stories that you can share with us?
I think. As for the Chinese pangolin conservation program, provide the Taipei Zoo a great opportunity to have this collaboration with the other zoos in Germany. It's Zoo Leipzig. Okay. Because they usually in the zoological institution they only see the creatures like armadillo, the anteater. Okay. So they were so amazed by the critters like Chinese pangolin, but nobody has the skill to raise them. No. So only the Taipei Zoo has this
success,
expertise to provide a suitable diet, so that can at least keep the Chinese pangolin live healthily. Okay. So for that case, the Zoo Leipzig colleague communicate with us very frequently, and they construct a special exhibition area right in the Asian elephant enclosure. And so first, we were very careful. We tried to send the Toufen, which is a male pangolin, to Zoo Leipzig. But before that, we also trained their keepers right in our zoo. For her to learn everything that how to do the daily husbandry and even the medical care. Okay. And when the animal become stable, we send the female over. So now on the two different spots across the ocean, we try to collaborate together for the conservation breeding program. Okay. Yeah.
Are there any other kinds of similar collaborative programs that the Taipei City Zoo has with other zoos around the world?
That's for now. We have like a Burmese tortoise, which is a terrestrial turtle. So we have probably just today or tomorrow we will sign the agreement, donate some budget to the BCC, the Special Tortoise Conservation Organization. And also we have like a Malayan gharial. It's like a crocodile shape, but it only eats fish. So more than 25 years ago, it happened to have a special population transferred to Taiwan, and now most of those specimens become mature. So I think a lot of international colleagues are so much interested about having the collaboration with us.
Good. Yeah. Because the success that you had raising the Chinese pangolin, I think you're going to see a lot more people knocking on the door, say that, hey, Taipei City Zoo, let's work something together.
I think the scenario is pretty much the same. Is you have to develop the expertise then people would like
will
to
come to you
learn
for cooperation. Yes. We're going to take another short break on our program, and when we come back, we'll continue this interesting conversation with Dr. Eric Tsao, who is an Associate Research Fellow and also the CEO of the Animal Adoption Program at the Taipei City Zoo. I'll see you in just a few minutes. Welcome back to today's program here on the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Ray Guo. We will continue our conversation with Dr. Tsao Hsien-Shao, who is Associate Research Fellow and also the CEO of the Animal Adoption Program here at the Taipei City Zoo. Dr. Tsao, we talked about the Chinese pangolin just in the previous segment. How about some of the other more precious or endangered animals that you have at the City Zoo? For example, the Formosan black bear, and also the Formosan sika, and also the Formosan macaque. And how about some of these other endangered species?
Well, the sika deer
okay.
Happened to be the logo of the Taipei Zoo.
Oh, okay.
And it is symbolized, not right now, but many years ago, that when sika deer almost getting extinct in the wild. It's because the original natural habitat that they live with will be exactly the agricultural land that human being need. Okay. So in that case, the researcher found out that the only population on this island will be right inside the Taipei Zoo.
Good.
So that's provide the Taipei Zoo a challenge that we need to successfully breed them.
Okay.
And we have done that, fortunately. So right now, the sika deer can be reintroduced back to some of their natural habitat. So that is the case of sika deer.
Okay.
For the Formosa macaque,
okay.
Because it looks almost like it's actually the only native primate on this island, put this way.
All right.
But it also can easily adopt into any kind of the human environment.
Okay.
So I think when the Wildlife Conservation Law or Conservation Act was enforced, the macaque population easily goes up. So now most of the information that we can learn is the human-animal conflicts. Okay. They will rob the visitors in some natural reserve area. For the Formosa black bear,
yes.
It's even though it's considered as keystone species in the wild, which means if you see a single Formosa black bear, it's symbolized that the whole need, their food, their territory must be large. Okay. So they are keystone species.
Okay.
But it's very hard to do the research in the wild because they can move faster or easily in their natural habitat. It's not like the researcher have to do it on foot. So all these years, the estimation only in Yushan National Park is about 200 individuals. So our wild guess by the researcher will be we only have less than 1,000 individuals still live in the wild.
Okay.
So it's not many.
It's not many. No.
Anything happen, this population can be crashed. But for the Taipei Zoo, now what we are doing is to oversee the genetic diversity. First, we have to identify whether or not they are really native Formosa black bear. We don't want to make hybrid. So we need, for that purposes, we need to also collaborate with even TSRI, Taiwan Endemic Species Research Institution down to GG. Okay. We also need to collaborate with other zoological institutions if they have this collection in captivity. And what everybody can work together is, after we identify the genetic heritage, then we can all work together. We can allocate the individual. We will try to maintain a sustainable population in captivity. But again, this is not the end.
No.
We just try to develop the techniques.
Okay.
But more importantly, I think all the field researchers need to have more support so they can do the habitat protection. They can do monitor the wild population.
Okay.
So this is what we call about, it's not, although the zoological institution only start with the ex situ, which means other than outside their natural habitat, ex situ conservation, but we always want to have this linkage with in situ conservation activities.
All right. And just listening to what you just said about animal conservation in Taiwan, especially regarding those three species, I understand this is very important work, but this is something that normally you don't get a lot of attention. And this is, of course, very time-consuming and resource-consuming as well. So what are some of the major difficulties that you have encountered in your line of work? For example, lack of budget, lack of trained personnel, and lack of support from other agencies or the private sector. Are these some of the issues that constantly becoming obstacles as you make progress in animal conservation in Taiwan?
Well, personally, I think I am lucky enough to be part of this conservation work in Taiwan.
All right.
But talking about the Taipei City situation, Taipei City Zoo situations, we don't even have national zoo.
No.
But usually the cases that we are facing are international affairs. So from that point of view, consider about the bureaucratic situation, it's really hard for any agencies try to act or respond for these emergencies. So we really need to think a different way. We really need help even from the general public. So only in that case we can speed up some of our dream or act properly.
Okay. We understand that out of all the possibly endangered species in Taiwan, one that gets the most attention is the Formosa black bear. Our president, President Ma Ying-jeou, recently said on his weekly online, diary that the conservation of the animals, especially Formosa black bears, is very important. It's a priority issue for the government. What are some of the things or specific programs that we have already made available, to help salvage this very important species that's been roaming around Taiwan supposedly over 500,000 years?
Well, I think there are several stories about, for example, like Formosa landlocked salmon or Formosa black bear. The government agencies spend a whole lot of effort, collaborate with professionals from school or the other government or non-government organization.
Okay.
But it's actually an important lesson that everybody learn if you are part of the project is that the efforts that trying to conserve the black bear or the other endangered species eventually is not just about the single species.
No.
Usually you will have to protect everything that we live together. We need to protect the environment. So that's also bring up the ideas, the importance that we need to communicate with everybody. So only if everybody have the consensus about making the right choices, then the wildlife can be saved.
Okay, and I know this is probably not a priority in your daily work, but somehow you probably need to be exposed to the outside world about the kinds of work that you do and your colleagues do at the Taipei City Zoo. For example, I understand that some of the animals at the City Zoo were recently in the director Ann Lee's latest work, film on the life of Pi. What were some of the animals that were involved in the film project?
Well, I may not in the position to answer everything for An Li.
Okay.
But I think one of the decision that probably some of the shooting will occur right in Taipei Zoo is because the life of Pi, this novel is talking about the Indian zoo. Okay. So that is one thing.
All right.
The other, more importantly, personally, I think, is that because our colleague really understand the wildlife that in our collections. We monitor them, we observe them, we study them. So in that case, many filmmakers easily learn that it's hard to film the kids or animals. But in our case, we can easily communicate with filmmakers is that what will be the greatest opportunity you can get the best shot.
Okay.
And also the other is we try to make the enclosure more similar to the natural environment. So I think probably this is Anne's choice.
Okay. Yeah. I understand that this is also a very good opportunity for the Taipei City Zoo to get some exposure, not only in Taiwan, in the region, but also internationally. Do you then foresee in the future, besides the work by director An Li, maybe other directors or the TV producers maybe coming to your office and saying, hey, Dr. Tsao, we would like to do this program on the animals, on the city zoo, and on Taiwan itself. Will that be something that you look forward to in the coming years?
Well, there are several cases already.
Under discussion.
We can communicate easily with directors that are trying to make a nice video.
All right.
Even the public TV have probably the experiences with us. It's what we try to collaborate is how much do we know about the wildlife. But also I think it's also because the wildlife conservation is a global images.
Of course.
So it's not just about Taipei Zoo, it's about Taiwan.
That's terrific.
It's our attitude that would that be possible to be, respect by the other
international community.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right, we're going to take the final break on our program today, and when we come back, we'll talk with Dr. Tsao about the other responsibility that he has as the CEO of the Animal Adoption Program at the Taipei City Zoo. I'll see you in just a few minutes. Welcome back to the final segment of today's program here on the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Wu Ruiguo, where we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Eric Tsao, who is an Associate Research Fellow and also the CEO of the Animal Adoption Program at the Taipei City Zoo. And this part of the program, Dr. Tsao, we're going to talk about the other responsibility that you have at the City Zoo, other than animal conservation. You're also the Chief Executive Officer of the Animal Adoption Program. For many people, myself included, were very ignorant. We didn't even know that the City Zoo had an animal adoption program. Can you then give us a background about the program, also about the kinds of functions and the procedures if people out there are interested in terms of adoption?
I think most of the major or famous zoo worldwide do have animal adoption program. And this is a special tool that helping this kind of zoological institution that they can outreach to get themselves access to the resources. And to enforce their conservation merit. For example, do a good research, a good, nice educational program, even a better design of the wildlife enclosure in exhibition. Then I think it is more important to earn the respect or the recognition, even the support from the general public. It's a major issue. So I think Taipei Zoo's animal adoption program is not new. We pretty much follow this trend. However, as a government agencies, if you have barely know about how we set up the financial annual budget, it's very difficult for us to respond quickly for the wildlife conservation activities that whenever needed. So that is the part of the reason that we initiate this animal adoption program at the zoo. And so any visitor right now, when you come to the Taipei Zoo, if you happen to eat something or you purchase the souvenir, and there are some percentage of the retail sale will go to support the animal adoption program. That is the conceptual thinking that we have. And we also try to even encourage the private company to sell fair trade products, for example, like fair trade coffee. And so that is another linkage to the conservation outside. And also we try to reorganize, redesign the process that how the visitor can, even for lunch, they have to recycle the waste. So that is the thinking is to try to make the Taipei Zoo a learning playground for the kids and the parents.
And maybe because of the adoption program at the City Zoo, or maybe because of other reasons, I think there is more and more awareness among the people in Taiwan that probably it's better to adopt animals than to buy them and then raise them. And why is it you think the popular perception is changing in that area?
I think through the urbanization, it's really hard to keep a space even for ourselves.
Yes.
So not to mention about having the pets. I'm talking about maybe the birds or mammals. Maybe the fish or turtles. It could be relatively easier. But again, we mentioned about the responsibility. Any pets need intensive care.
Yes.
So I think I would encourage the audience to have double think about if you really like the pets, you definitely could have them, but you have to fulfill the responsibility.
Yes.
Otherwise, you are encouraged definitely to support the conservation activities, maybe at the zoo or in the other conservation institutions, is by being a volunteer, or maybe even visit our website to be a fan of the Taipei Zoo Facebook, and maybe support our activity. But if you have extra money, you would like to participate, even more welcome. You can make the donation, and you can visit the zoo freely. That the program will pay for your entrance fee.
Good. And today on the program, we have talked about the two primary responsibilities that you have at the City Zoo. One is on the animal conservation, the other one is on animal adoption. What are some of the, in both areas, at least to me, the City Zoo, under your leadership and participation, has certainly done very well in both areas. And do you think that in the future, maybe, that the City Zoo will continue and possibly intensify international cooperation with other zoos in the region or around the world in these two areas, one on conservation, the other one on animal adoption?
We already did that.
You're already doing it.
Yeah, I think we talk about in the year of 2009 is try to having this special linkage from the Pacific Rim. That all the principal zoo have to work seriously together. I think the basic reason for that is that each individual institution, you have always limited resources. I'm talking about the facility, I'm talking about the space, even the animal collections. So when we talk about a successful, even a successful breeding program, you need to allocate individual. You need to allocate the resources. We need to train our staffs. So a lot of collaboration is undergoing. So we have very close interaction with the Singapore Zoo. We are sister zoo to Seoul Grand Park Zoo. We have the biannual conservation meeting with Hong Kong Ocean Park.
Okay.
So I think we started from our own region, but we
you also have a relationship with Germany.
Yeah, we do not forget the global collaboration. So we have lots of the activities that is quite interesting.
Okay. For the remaining few minutes that we have on the program today, Dr. Tsao, I want to ask you about cross-strait, exchanges and cooperation. Certainly the thing that comes to mind is the panda. And I suppose you were part of that exchange and also the program. And do we can we expect that there will be more exchanges between zoos in mainland China and also Taiwan in Taipei City in the coming months or coming years?
I think the panda symbolize the collaboration between the strait.
Okay.
But it is also, more importantly, is push us to oversee this project in a world standard. Okay. Which means all the zoological institutions that possibly holding the panda pair, you have to have the world standard of your professional skill. That is one thing. Right. And the other thing is about international collaboration. It's not just across the strait. So we now have the opportunity to outreach even San Diego Zoo, National Zoo, and the other zoological institution. We privately teasing on that is a panda family. Okay. But panda family eventually bring all the conservationists together and work not just for panda, but all the skills that can be transformed to help the other endangered species. I think that is the more important things that we all learn.
A bigger goal.
Yes, bigger pictures.
Yes. Yeah. Final question that I have, Dr. Tsao, that you're a specialist in animal conservation. When did you first start develop an interest in animals?
Well, I received my bachelor degree from the Department of Zoology. So from
National Taiwan U.
National Taiwan University. Yes. So most of our friends are teasing on us. You want to work at a zoo? I think it's probably step into the be an animal in exhibition.
Yes.
But after I received my PhD degree, I have this opportunity for a long time to work for our endemic species in Taiwan. So suddenly I realized that actually there are already a lot of huge, tremendous collection right inside the zoo. So our challenge becomes how much contribution me and my colleague can make to the wildlife conservation. So there are a lot of things you need to do right now. Yes. Yeah, right inside the zoo. And we also need to establish this nice linkage with field researchers. So only in that way, I think the wildlife conservation can be in a new eras. Okay. Yeah.
Finally, what are some of the programs that are being under consideration and the City Zoo will focus on in the in the year of the golden rabbit?
Other research projects?
Yes. If you can share with us.
We sponsor the special field research of flying fox.
Okay.
So in the past few years, the flying fox were rediscovered, not only from the Turtle Island, Guishan Island, but also on the Jade Island.
Oh, good.
So now the wild population has been monitored. Okay. So that is one project.
Okay.
On the other project, we also try to, again, like the black bear conservation breeding program. Okay. And we also will continue the international collaboration for Bermuda's tortoise with like the BCC or San Diego Zoo, the other conservation institution.
Yeah. That's certainly a lot of interesting work ahead of you. Dr. Tsao, thank you for being on the program today. Certainly wish you all the best in your personal and professional endeavors in the coming years.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching our program today. I'll see you next time on Macroview Television. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.